Alright, Affliction 2. So I've made a video before, like the easiest greater Affliction video, where I just casted because that was my first time casting it, and I was just recording. So I don't really explain how to cast it. Now that I have had more time to cast it, there's one major component that I've noticed that really helps successfully cast a spell for people who still struggle, even after seeing it. And that is, a lot of people, it's kind of described as an 8, right? Or an 8 with a circle, or an 8 ball, or a circle 8. That is mostly true. And you probably, let me go ahead and just try doing an 8. And like, you probably can get away with it. Yeah. But in general, what it actually is think about Affliction 1. So Affliction 1 is this really sharp looking shape. It's got, in the correct version, it has no roundness, it's just all edges. And you get perfect cast. And all you want to do with Affliction 2 is replicate that and circle it. Now, it's not going to look like an Affliction 1 when you do that. It's going to look like a round 8, just because the nature of how you're waving your arm around and getting ready to circle it. And that's why it doesn't show up a lot when you look at Affliction 2 cast. It looks like an 8, because when you do this motion, it doesn't come out just because the way the lines are drawn. Like, it really blurs the detail. I mean, look how thick that is, like, versus the point of the wand. So, in general, if you focus on creating the Affliction 1 version and then just circling it, you'll end up with Affliction 2 almost every time. So, hopefully that'll work up here. I probably should have said that. So I'm trying to focus on casting, although talking certainly is distracting. But I'm just focusing on generally giving some perfect casts. A perfect cast is very good when you're doing shortcuts. It means you're going the perfect direction to do it. That's literally like what you want to get, because that has the highest percentage of being a correct cast, essentially. I've only gone perfect cast. I've noticed when I do the full circle, you can do like kind of like a hook. Or I guess would it be like this? You come around, you do like a little hook. Probably not that dramatic. I could just show you. Hopefully I don't mess it up. See? You don't actually have to close the circle, and there's a lot of ways you can do that. That saves you time, but as far as I know, it will cost you in some percentile of being correct. So it's not really risky because a lot of people do it, and if you're used to it, it's not a big deal. But the circle is safe, especially if you're a starter, and it also brings you back to where you need to start anyways, so it's not really a big deal. But yeah, basically just make sure you focus on creating Affliction 1, but just while you're doing the circle 8, and as long as you're focusing on getting those crisp edges, even though you're not producing them, it's going, even though you can't see it, you're still producing them. It just doesn't show up as well. And then, so the perfect cast, and for me, it really helps to slow down with Affliction when I cast it. I really focus typically when I do it. If you get kind of in the groove, you may not, but if you don't focus, you're gonna definitely fizzle a lot more. And it's just not as recoverable as like a fireball, right? As I choke repeatedly here. Fireball is just super easy to recover from because you cast so many of them. And you can have like good mages, okay mages will have like 5 fireballs, good mages will have like 10, very good mages will have like 15 fireballs, and then like sickening mages have like 17 or 21 fireballs out at a time before they're disappearing, which sounds maybe unbelievable, but it is true. It really just has to do with developing muscle memory and control of fine-tuning how you end your spell, getting to the correct place. Most people can't do it. Affliction, on the other hand, the most I've ever seen out was like 5. I'm sure some people can get like 6, maybe even 7 afflictions out as like top mages. If you can do even just 2 afflictions, I'd rate that as pretty like average. 3 would also be like above average, I guess, and 4 would be you're starting to cast pretty quick, and 5 is you cast affliction very reliably, and beyond that is again just insane. For Affliction, it really has to do, I think, with how small you draw it. That's not always true with spells. There's like a big misconception that drawing smaller means faster. And it's like somewhat true, but it's actually really tiring on your arm typically. Everyone's a little bit different, but drawing bigger actually gives you the wider use of your arm, which has way more muscle in it, and because it also is just more developed, you're not like straining your wrist repeatedly, so you can get more endurance out of your arm basically. But you do you. If you think small casting is working for you, it's you have to, because it's smaller. Typically with a spell, you're gonna have to focus more and make sure it's correct. Whereas a big spell, it's huge, and so there's more error that you can make and be fine still. So there's really a balance, and I typically draw most of my spells at least less than the size of the wand, but half or 75%, or like 25%. Usually not the full length of the wand, just because like that seems too large, I guess. So those are some random tips. That's pretty much it. So good luck. Remember, focus on Affliction 1 and just circle it. You're going to be fine. And you can get away with asymmetry with this spell if you do that. Like, it's such a core part to the spell that perfect cast. That there's probably other tips mages have come up with on how to get more reliable Affliction 2s, but if you just focus on that one part of it, everything else doesn't really matter because it's just reliable. So good luck. Draw small, draw big, do what you gotta do. See ya.